This is not the way they thought the future would look like. Where do the Giants go from here? We are not even at the halfway point of this season.
Look, Ron's on the show, so I would defer to him as how a coach would handle this. But I think you're in that spot where it's, all right, we're in kind of quarterback purgatory with this young man. Daniel Jones was the 6th overall pick. A different organization, a different group of men drafted him. This was inherited by Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll, and they opted to pay him, which was a Band-Aid deal. Really, they can get out of it at the end of this year, and it's the same results we've seen time and time again. Unfortunately, the Giants are 2-6, and they're 0-3 in the division, and they've got the Commanders, who they historically have had success against, but there's no confidence they're going to beat the Commanders this weekend. And then they never beat the Eagles, and they never beat the Cowboys. So we could be talking about 0-6 in the division. Yeah. And where do you go from there? Daniel Jones is not a first or second year quarterback. This is not Anthony Richardson figuring things out. This is not even a third-year quarterback who's had ups and downs. This is a 6th-year veteran. And I don't take great joy in starting the show and bashing Daniel Jones. I see nothing out of it. But Daniel Jones did last night what he always does, the same numbers. It's like 18-25, maybe 1 touchdown. Last night, none. 2 turnovers, a fourth-quarter turnover that breaks your back. And you know, in prime time, it's not good with the numbers. And, of course, this is all irrelevant except for that third one. 1-15. I don't know what the touchdowns, interceptions has to do with anything. 1-15 is what I stand out. I mean, that is the number that is so glaring. So when everyone is watching, this isn't a guy who elevates his game. He's got a playoff victory to his name. He's beating Kirk Cousins in Kirk Cousins' building. We've brought that up for the last 36 months. Unfortunately, I even saw Brian Daboll, not calling him out, but saying on the sack by Watt, Daboll said, well, Daniel's supposed to run Theo Johnson in motion on that play, and he missed the when you start saying that stuff, I look at it at another level and say, okay, maybe if he's a younger quarterback, you don't call him out like that. You don't mention exactly what. But he said Daniel missed that, and then Daniel Jones wore it. And I was like, yeah, I messed that up. I should have. 6-year guy. I think we're moving on next year. And I think Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll, who got the vote of confidence from John Mara, they can't miss again when it comes to who's going to be our starting quarterback for 2025.
Wow. What do you think, Coach?
Well, I think the big thing that really happens right now, what needs to happen is they've got to decide whether they feel they still got a chance to get into the playoffs or not. And if they do, is it with Daniel Jones or is it with another quarterback? If that's the decision, they got to make the decision now and start going.
So the Giants in 2 weeks, they go to Germany. If you had a decision to make about quarterback, wouldn't you want to get him in this week before the team goes on an international trip?
You would, because the big thing is, again, you want him to get a little more work, not because it's an international game, but because if you really think you have a chance to win and get into the playoffs, you've got to do these things now. They've got to be decided. And if you don't and you wait a little bit more, you're just wasting opportunities.
Yeah, I think there's a positive side of this because that game that we witnessed, we saw Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren go off on this game, and they were just running the ball really, really well. But on the other side of the ball, again, just trying to stay positive on the New York Giants because there's not a lot of positive coming out of there. Tyrone Tracy Jr. That dude ran the ball, and he ran it hard. He ran it for 145 yards, 7.2 yards per carry. I mean, every time he got the ball, it just seemingly he was running for about 7 yards a carry. I mean, it was going off, and he outperformed the running backs who we thought and did very, very well by almost 50, or excuse me, they outperformed him by 15 yards. So he had 145. They had a total of 160. Tyrone Tracy, just a phenomenal player. I think they need to utilize him a little bit more. They've used him sparingly, spot places here and there, but he's shown, like he did this in Seattle. Again, if you go back to that Seattle game, he went off on Seattle as well, like 7 yards a carry in that game. So I really like this kid. I think they should depend more on him to kind of hide the deficiencies of Daniel Jones.
Yeah, and Tyrone Tracy had one heck of a game, so you're absolutely correct. That's the one positive that they have going on for their team right now. And I know everybody wants to look at Danny Dimes, right, or Daniel Jones or Danny Nickel, however he's playing that particular day. But the thing is, I don't know one quarterback that can have success when they are going to be pressured 119 times through the first part of the season.
Yeesh.
119 times. Name one quarterback that's going to have success that does not possess the ability to be able to run the ball like Lamar Jackson.
Several.
That's four.
Several find a way to rise above.
Yeah, you know what? Several who run a 4-4 or 4-3, right? But the reality is it's the fourth most pressures in the NFL. So not only do they go out and get Malik Neighbors, right? Darius Slayton was your number one receiver last night, right? So you can't get the ball to Malik Neighbors and Slayton and these guys of that nature because he can't even sit back there and throw the ball. Now, I'm not making excuses for him. I'm still saying that he needs to step the game up. But what I am saying is that they have to give him some kind of protection up front to allow for him to have even some kind of chance of success.
Well, that's the beauty of it. This is a team game. And if the team's not working together, if things aren't happening as a unit, they're running the ball well. But if they can protect the passer, play action becomes a big part of what they need to start doing too as well.
This is where we are as the show, is that we always aspire to be positive and we start the day and we like the NFL and everything. And then we also, I think, have an obligation to be a voice of the fans and to speak to the viewers. And so, I mean, I'll get my hands dirty here. Daniel Jones should never start another game again for the New York Giants. It's over. It's done. They should not start him next week. They should never start him again. Guys, they're 2-6. He's in his 6th year. He can't play. He can't. I know the excuses. And any quarterback who's the line isn't good, he's been injured. I get that. And if it maybe were his 4th year or it was the 15th time we'd talked about this instead of the 50th time, I would love to have half of a light beer with Brian Dable with all it would take to him to sit down and start spewing his real opinions about Daniel Jones, a player that they openly and publicly tried to move on from in the offseason, which we're not successful in doing. And it's for reasons like this, guys. It's nothing personal. He seems like a great guy. I'd want him to be in my golf foursome. I'd want him to date my daughter if she was the right age. I just don't want him to leave my office. I don't. And what are we doing? Like, I'm not going to sit here and talk to Giants fans and be like, man, we just need to block better. It's over. It's over. Start Drew Lock next week. Move on from Daniel Jones next season. You're 2-6. And if coach is saying maybe you find lightning in a bottle and you do make a playoff run, it is not going to be with Daniel Jones. Nobody thinks it's going to be with Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones doesn't think it's going to be with Daniel Jones.
I also think this. If he goes to a new team and he has a new coach and he has a new line, like,
that's great.
There's a chance. But I think the Giants fans are seeing 6 years of the same results. So it's nothing against Daniel Jones, the person, and it's certainly not saying he doesn't have a future in the NFL. I just think this thing has run its course.
Giants had gone 24 drives before last night, scoring a touchdown, and it was a run touchdown. So, they're still trying to make something work, and it's just not going to click in the past game, at least from what we've seen through the start of the season. 2-6, the New York Giants sit.